caught my wife in a secret party with her lover and his crew. If this story moved you, don't forget to drop a comment and subscribe to Viora for more unforgettable stories that speak to the heart. I caught her laughing about me on a call at 2 a.m., her voice bright with a joy she hadn't shown me in years. My name is Trevor Monroe, and I thought I had the American dream. A charming brick house in Asheville, North Carolina, a growing financial advisory firm, and a wife who made every day feel like a fresh start. Julia, with her sharp blue eyes and infectious laugh, was my everything. 6 years of marriage, no kids yet, but we were planning a nursery, a future. I wasn't perfect. Long hours building my business meant late dinners, and my stress sometimes dimmed our spark. But I loved her deeply, trusted her completely. This is my cheating wife story, and it's not the betrayal you expect. It started with a shift subtle but sharp like a crack in a windshield. Julia began taking weekend trips with her old college friend Shawn, a freelance photographer with a disarming grin and a life that seemed too free for his bank account. Just catching up, she'd say, tossing her blonde hair. But her stories were vague. Hiking coffee shops, nothing specific. Her phone became a fortress passcode. Changed notifications. Silenced. I'd wake at night to find her texting in the bathroom. The door locked, her whispers muffled. Work, she'd claim, but Julia was a marketing consultant, not a 24/7 crisis manager. Doubt crept in a quiet poison. The first twist hit during a client dinner. My colleague Lauren Brooks pulled me aside, her voice low. "Trevor, I saw Julia at a bar downtown with Shawn. They weren't platonic." Her words landed like a slap. Shawn was my friend too. We'd grilled burgers together, swapped stories about college. He was single. Charming, the kind of guy who made everyone feel special. I brushed it off. Told Lauren it was probably nothing, but my chest tightened. That night, Julia came home late, her lipstick smudged. Her excuse, a client pitch, flimsy. I found a hotel keycard in her purse the next day, tucked behind her wallet, the Grove Park Inn. She hadn't mentioned a staycation. I didn't want to be the paranoid husband, but the signs piled up. Julia's new perfume, bold and spicy, clung to her clothes. Her gym bag held a silk camisole I'd never seen. Not her usual workout gear. One evening I checked her car's GPS history, late-night drives to a loft district far from her office. My stomach churned, but I needed proof, not hunches. I hired a private investigator, Ethan Walsh, a grizzled ex-cop who'd seen too many cheating stories to sugarcoat. "Give me a week," he said, his eyes steady. "You sure you want the truth?" I nodded, though part of me dreaded it. The second twist was a knife. Ethan delivered a USB drive to my office, his face grim. "Brace yourself, Trevor." The footage was brutal. Julia and Shawn at a loft party. Their hands entwined, her laugh bright as they slipped into a back room. Photos showed them kissing, her arms around his neck, his hands possessive. But it wasn't just Shawn. Another man younger joined them, his face blurred but his touch familiar. Ethan's report detailed a pattern. Julia attended exclusive parties with Shawn, events that weren't just social. They were reckless, indulgent, a world I didn't recognize. My wife wasn't just cheating. She was living a double life. I watched the footage alone. My office dark, the Asheville skyline glittering beyond the window. Each frame carved into me. Julia's smile, the one I thought was mine, now shared with strangers. Ethan's report included texts from her phone, hacked from a cloud backup. Shawn last night was wild. "Can't wait for the next one." Another, to the younger man. "You're trouble. See you Friday." My hands shook. I wanted to scream, to drive to Shawn's loft and tear it apart. But rage wouldn't undo this. I needed control, a way to protect myself before she dismantled our life. The third twist came from my own digging. I accessed our joint bank account, expecting routine expenses. Instead, I found $12,000 missing, withdrawn in cash over 3 months. Julia's explanation, consulting fees, didn't match the dates of her trips. Ethan traced the cash to deposits in Shawn's account, funneled through a fake photography gig. They weren't just lovers. They were partners, funding their secret world with my money. I thought of our dream nursery, the future we'd planned. Julia was stealing that too. I met Lauren for coffee, needing her grounded perspective. "She's not the woman you fell for," Lauren said, her voice soft. "You deserve better. Trevor." Her hand brushed mine, a fleeting warmth, but I pulled back. I wasn't ready to feel anything but betrayal. I started planning not revenge, but survival. I met a lawyer, Claire Ramsey, who specialized in high-stakes divorces. "Secure your assets first." She said, her pen tapping a legal pad. "Then we build your case." I transferred my firm's profits to a separate trust, citing tax strategy. When Julia asked, she didn't blink, too caught up in her lies. I installed a camera in our living room disguised as a smart speaker and a tracker on her phone. The footage was relentless. Shawn at our house, their laughter echoing as they planned another party. Julia's text to him mentioned a big move, a new city, a fresh start. My city, my home, my life. The fourth twist was Julia's carelessness. One night I found a burner phone in her coat, its screen lighting up with a message: Jay, the loft's booked. Bring the cash from Shawn. The phone held photos Julia with Shawn, the younger man. Others I didn't recognize, all at dimly lit venues, their faces flushed with thrill. My throat closed. This wasn't love. It was chaos, and she dragged our marriage into it. I copied the phone's data, my hands steady despite the ache in my chest. Claire reviewed it, her jaw tight. This is enough for a clean divorce, Trevor. You'll keep everything. But everything felt like nothing without trust. I didn't confront her yet. The camera showed Julia growing reckless, inviting Shawn over while I was at a client meeting. They spoke of leaving Asheville, selling our house behind my back. Trevor's clueless. Julia said, her voice sharp. Shawn laughed. Good, let's move the money tonight, my money, our future. I sat in my car, rain streaking the windshield, and called Ethan. Follow them. I said I need to know where they're going. His reply was curt on it. But Trevor, they're not alone. Not alone. Who else was in their web? Ethan's words, they're not alone, echoed as I sat in my car, rain hammering the windshield, the Asheville night swallowing my resolve. The burner phone's photos burned in my mind. Julia, Shawn, and others in a haze of reckless abandon. My home. My savings. My trust. They were looting it all for their secret world. The camera feed from our living room played on my phone. Julia and Shawn plotting to move money, their voices casual, as if my life was a game I didn't barge in. Fury was a storm, but I'd learned to harness it. I texted Ethan. Find out who's with them. I'm done waiting. My plan wasn't revenge yet. It was reclamation. The next morning I moved like a man possessed, Claire. My lawyer had already secured my firm's assets in a trust Julia couldn't touch. I met her at her office, a sleek space overlooking the Biltmore Estate's distant spires. The burner phone's evidence is gold, Claire said, flipping through Ethan's report. Adultery, financial misconduct. You'll keep the house, the business, everything. But the $12,000 she took. We need to trace it. I nodded, my jaw tight. She's planning to leave Asheville. With Shawn. Claire's pen paused. Then we move faster. Freeze your joint accounts today. I signed the papers locking Julia out of our savings, citing audit concerns when she texted confused. Her reply was curt. Fine, talk later. She didn't suspect a thing. The first twist came that afternoon. Ethan sent a new file surveillance from the loft party. The younger man in the photos wasn't a stranger. He was Caleb, Shawn's cousin, a drifter with a rap sheet for petty theft. The footage showed Julia, Shawn, and Caleb in a heated exchange, passing an envelope of cash. Ethan's notes were blunt. They're pooling money, likely for the big move. Caleb's their muscle, maybe more muscle. My stomach churned. Was Julia in over her head, or was she orchestrating this? Ethan traced the $12,000 to a crypto wallet linked to Shawn's Photography LLC, a front for their scheme. They weren't just stealing, they were laundering sloppy, but bold. I called Claire, who grinned. This is fraud. If we tip the bank, they're toast. I didn't tip anyone yet. I wanted them to feel the trap closing. Ethan bugged Shawn's car, catching a call between him and Julia. Trevor's distracted. She said, her voice smug. We list the house next week. Caleb's handling the buyer. Shawn's tone was sharp. Caleb's a loose cannon. Jules, keep him in line. My house, my house. I checked our mortgage records. Julia had requested a valuation, forging my signature. The betrayal wasn't just personal. It was a calculated theft of our future. I drove to Lauren's apartment, needing her steady presence. They're selling my home out from under me, I said, my voice breaking. Lauren's eyes softened. You're stronger than this, Trevor. Fight smart. Her hand lingered on my arm, a spark I couldn't afford to feel. I left rain soaking my coat, my focus sharpening. The second twist was a dagger. Ethan's surveillance uncovered a deeper layer. Julia's parties weren't random. They were invite-only, tied to a network of high rollers, bankers, realtors, even a local councilman. Shawn was the gatekeeper, using his charm to lure clients, while Julia played the alluring host. Securing deals under the table, Ethan found emails on her laptop carelessly left unencrypted. Shawn, the councilman's, in for $50. Kay split it with Caleb. My wife wasn't just cheating, she was running a hustle, risking our name for a cut. The $12,000 was pocket change compared to the $50,000 they'd stashed in the crypto wallet. I thought of our planned nursery, the kids we dreamed of. Julia was burning that dream for power. I escalated my defenses. Claire drafted a divorce petition citing infidelity and fraud, but I held off filing. I met a forensic accountant, Natalie Chen, who mapped the crypto transactions. They're amateurs. Natalie said, her laptop glowing with data. The wallet's traceable. One call to the IRS and they're audited. I didn't call yet. Instead, I sent an anonymous tip to the bank's compliance officer flagging suspicious transactions in Shawn's LLC. The camera caught Julia's panic that night. "Shawn, the bank's asking questions," she hissed, pacing our kitchen. Shawn's voice crackled through her phone. "Calm down, Caleb's moving the money." I smirked, knowing Ethan was tracking Caleb's every move. The third twist was personal. Lauren called me, her voice urgent. "Trevor, I found something." She'd overheard Julia at a cafe talking to a woman named Hannah. Shawn's sister, Hannah, was begging Julia to stop the parties, warning that Caleb was unstable. "Maybe dangerous." Lauren recorded it on her phone. "Julia, he's got a gun," Hannah said. "If Shawn pushes him, it'll end badly." My blood ran cold. A gun? I called Ethan, who confirmed Caleb had bought a handgun off the books using cash from the crypto wallet. Was Julia aware, or was she a pawn in Shawn's game? The camera showed her with Shawn the next night arguing. "Caleb's scaring me." She said. Shawn grabbed her arm. "He's our ticket out. Deal with it." My hand tightened on my phone. Julia wasn't innocent, but she was in deep, and I wasn't sure she could swim. I confronted Julia indirectly, testing her over dinner. I mentioned a bank audit at my firm, watching her face. Her fork froze midair, her eyes darting. "That's stressful," she said, her voice thin. I leaned in, casual. "Yeah, they're digging into LLCs. Found some weird crypto stuff." She choked on her wine, covering it with a laugh. "Probably nothing." But her hands shook as she cleared the table. That night, the camera caught her texting Shawn, "Trevor's onto something. We need to go now." My trap was working, but a new fear gnawed at me. Caleb. If he was armed, this wasn't just a divorce, it was a powder keg. The fourth twist was Shawn's desperation. Ethan tailed him to a warehouse where Caleb was loading boxes, documents. Cash, maybe worse. Ethan's drone caught audio. "If Trevor's sniffing, we shut him up." Caleb said, his voice low. Shawn hesitated. "No violence, just move the money." My pulse raced. "Shut me up." I called Claire, who filed a restraining order against Shawn, citing financial threats. It was a long shot, but it limited his access to Julia. I also hired a security consultant, Marcus Tate, to watch my house. "You're playing with fire," Trevor, Marcus said, checking his gear. "These guys don't fold easy." I didn't care. I'd lost too much to fold. The fifth twist was Julia's unraveling. The camera showed her alone, crying a bottle of wine half empty. "I didn't mean for this," she whispered, staring at a photo of us, our wedding. Her smile radiant. For a moment I felt the old love, the urge to save her. Then her phone lit up. Shawn demanding she meet Caleb at the loft. She typed, "I'm scared, but went anyway." I followed, staying back. Marcus trailing me. The loft was alive with music, shadows moving behind curtains. Ethan texted Caleb's inside armed. "Be careful." My heart pounded. Was Julia a victim now, or still a player? I gripped my phone, ready to call the police, but Marcus stopped me. "Wait, let them hang themselves." What did I see in that loft, and who walked out alive? This cheating story teeters on the edge. Was I saving Julia or sealing her fate? "Love is a spark," I told her once, "but sparks can burn." The loft pulsed with music, a low throb that vibrated through the Asheville night as I stood in the shadows, rain slicking my jacket. Marcus, my security consultant, crouched beside me, his eyes scanning the curtained windows where silhouettes moved in a haze of reckless abandon. Ethan's text burned in my mind. Caleb's inside armed, "Be careful." Julia was in there, her text to Shawn. I'm scared, looping in my head. Was she a victim trapped in Shawn's web, or still the architect of this betrayal? The camera feed from our house was dark now, but the burner phone's photos, Julia with Shawn, Caleb, and others, flashed behind my eyes. My hand hovered over my phone, the police on speed dial, but Marcus's grip on my arm was firm. "Wait, Trevor, let them bury themselves." My pulse hammered. Bury themselves or me. I didn't rush in. The loft's door cracked open, spilling light and laughter, and I glimpsed Julia, her blonde hair catching the neon glow. Shawn's hand on her waist. Caleb loomed nearby, his posture tense, a bulge under his jacket hinting at the gun Ethan had flagged. My stomach twisted. This wasn't just a party. It was a transaction. The culmination of their scheme to fleece my savings and vanish. Ethan's drone hummed overhead, recording its feed, streaming to my phone. "They're moving cash," Ethan texted. Boxes in the back room. The $12,000 they'd stolen was just the start. Shawn's crypto wallet now held $50,000. My money mixed with their dirty deals. I texted Claire, my lawyer. "It's happening, be ready." Her reply was instant police on standby, stay safe. The first twist came like a thunderclap. A scream cut through the music and the loft's windows flared with chaos. Marcus pulled me back as figures spilled onto the street. Partygoers panicked, shouting about a fight. I spotted Julia, her dress torn, shoving past Caleb, who clutched a bleeding arm. Shawn was nowhere in sight. Ethan's drone feed showed the back room Shawn on the floor, dazed cash scattered, Caleb's gun discarded. Had Julia turned on them, or was this Caleb's breaking point? I moved closer, Marcus covering me, and caught Julia's eye. Her face was a mask of terror, but when she saw me it shifted, guilt raw and unguarded. "Trevor," she gasped, but Caleb lunged, grabbing her arm. "You ratted us out," he snarled. I stepped forward, my voice steady. "Let her go, Caleb. It's over." He froze, his eyes wild, then bolted into the rain, leaving Julia trembling. Marcus signaled Ethan, who tailed Caleb in his car. I grabbed Julia's wrist, pulling her to my side, not out of love, but necessity. "What the hell's going on?" I demanded. Her sobs were incoherent, something about Shawn's plan. Caleb's rage, a deal gone wrong. The police sirens wailed in the distance, drawn by the loft's chaos. I pushed Julia into my car. Marcus guarding the door and checked Ethan's feed. Caleb was cornered in an alley. Police closing in. Shawn staggered out of the loft, blood on his shirt, shouting Julia's name. My plan was working, but the cost was climbing. The second twist was Julia's confession. In my car, rain drumming the roof, she broke. "I didn't mean for this, Trevor," she whispered, her voice raw. "Shawn promised a new life, money. Freedom, I got lost in it." I gripped the wheel, her words a blade. "You stole $12,000. You forged my signature. You sold our house." Her tears fell, but I felt nothing. "Caleb was Shawn's idea," she said. "He handled the cash, the deals. I didn't know he had a gun." I stared at her. The woman I'd loved, now a stranger. "Why?" I asked, my voice cracking. She looked away, rain streaking the window. "You were always working." Shawn saw me. Saw her. The excuse was hollow, but it cut deeper than I expected. The police arrived, cordoning off the loft. Ethan texted Caleb's arrested, had $20,000 and the gun. Shawn was detained, his face bruised, ranting about a setup. I handed Julia to an officer, her eyes pleading as she was questioned. Claire met me at the station, her briefcase packed with evidence, Ethan's footage, the burner phone bank records. "The bank's launching a fraud probe," she said. "Shawn's LLC is toast, and Julia's tied to it." I nodded, numb. The $50,000 in the crypto wallet was frozen, flagged by Natalie, my accountant. My house was safe, my assets secure, but victory felt like ash. Julia's betrayal wasn't just personal, it was a criminal enterprise, and I'd nearly lost everything. The third twist was Lauren's warning. She called as I left the station, her voice urgent. "Trevor, Hannah, Shawn's sister, reached out. She says, Shawn's blaming you for the bust. He's got friends, dangerous ones." My arm throbbed where Caleb had shoved me days ago, a reminder of their reach. I met Hannah at a diner, her face, pale hands shaking. "Shawn's desperate. She said he thinks you tipped the bank. His crew might come for you." I leaned back, rain tapping the diner's windows. "Let them try." But fear gnawed at me, not for myself, but for my future. The kids we'd planned, the life I'd rebuild. Marcus doubled my security, patrolling my house, but the threat lingered like a storm cloud. The fourth twist was the fallout. The bank fired Julia, her marketing career obliterated by the fraud probe. Shawn faced charges: money laundering, forgery, conspiracy. Caleb flipped on him, trading a lighter sentence for testimony. Julia wasn't charged, but her name was poison in Asheville's tight-knit business circles. Friends ghosted her, her parents cut contact, and she moved to a cheap motel, a shadow of the woman who'd lit up rooms. I sold our house, its memories too heavy, and bought a condo downtown, a fresh start. Lauren helped me move, her laughter a balm, but I kept her at arm's length. The pain of Julia's betrayal was still raw, and trust felt like a foreign language. The fifth twist was personal. One night, Julia showed up at my condo, rain soaked, her eyes hollow. "I'm sorry, Trevor," she said, her voice breaking. "I destroyed us. I let her in not out of love but curiosity." She confessed everything. Shawn's charm, the parties, the rush of power. "I thought I was trapped," she said. "You were building your empire, and I felt invisible." The word stung, but it didn't excuse the $50,000, the lies, the gun. I handed her a glass of water, my voice cold. You made your choices, Julia. Live with them. She nodded, leaving a letter on my counter. I'll never forgive myself. I hope you can. I didn't read it. I burned it, the ashes scattering in the wind. The sixth twist was my own reckoning. Months later, Shawn's trial ended with a 5-year sentence, his charm useless in court. Caleb was out on parole, a ghost in the city. Julia vanished, rumors swirling she'd left for Atlanta broke, and alone Lauren became my anchor, her quiet strength pulling me forward. One evening she kissed me under the condo's balcony lights, and I let myself feel a spark, fragile but real. But a call came that night, anonymous, a voice rasping, "You ruined Shawn. Watch your back." I stood in the rain, the Asheville skyline glittering, and wondered, was this freedom or a new cage? Did I rebuild or just trade one pain for another? This cheating wife story ends here, but the shadows don't. If Trevor's fight moved, you smash that like button, share your thoughts, and subscribe to Viora for more stories that cut deep. Would you have burned the letter or read it? Tell me, because I'm still wondering. Love is a flame. I told Lauren once, but so is vengeance. Which one defined me?